1 gewartet.
Kleine Fahrt voraus.
Alright guys, welcome back on board for another late night stream. This time it's again U-Boat. So I think a few old U-Boat salts might have been a bit, disappointed for me not doing U-Boat last night, but it was pretty late when I only had the opportunity to do a little stream, and then I decided spontaneously to do a bit of Arma Reforger. And from the viewers, in retrospective, I saw that, a lot of people joined the stream actually, but not so many stayed in it. So, so U-Boat seems to be a bit better liked in the community, in our community actually, and that's just fine for me, because this is also my favorite game at the moment. So let's carry on with our playthrough. That's actually what I'm doing. This stream, I'm streaming the complete playthrough through the game, having started at the beginning of the war in the year of 39, and you see now it's 42. We are already 3 years in the war, and one of the beautiful things of the game is that the enemies actually adopt their tactics, get other and better equipment, and all this is simulated pretty nicely. I mean, the whole progression of the war. Also, the historic moments like the US joining the war and things like that. It's great. So let me give you briefly the big picture. We are, like, the title of the stream implies, we are about to enter the Caribbean Sea, and our job is to attack a large oil refinery on the shores with deck gun and actually destroy targets on the shore with our deck gun. And it's the hell of a long run to get down there. So I have two milk cows on the way. We refueled here. Well, we shouldn't have needed to do it, but you never know. Better safe than sorry, because a few in-game months ago I actually lost one milk cow due to enemy, I don't know, air raid or whatever. Don't quite remember what the report was. Hey navigator, good evening and happy new year for you just as well. Great to have you in. Hope you're fine. Hope you slipped nicely into the new year. I'm just doing the general introduction for guys who are not that familiar with the game. You are, I know. So let me briefly finish the intro. I started in the German port of Wilhelmshaven in September 39. And yeah, I started with the small T type 2 submarine. It's tiny, small crew, few torpedoes, slow maximum speed, low range. And with this, I had to go through several missions and scenarios and to fulfill them. And as you see, I was fairly successful, and sooner or later I got promoted, and now I'm the proud captain of a Mark of a type 7C, and my home port being the port of La Rochelle. I have no idea why I did all these marks here. Probably trying something out. So, and after we are first haunting the North Sea and the closer Atlantic, after having transferred to La Rochelle, of course, it was much easier to go for the Atlantic hunting grounds, and sooner or later I got milk cows available, which is large, bulky submarine kind of transport submarines, which you can place on the map and use them as supply ships. And this is what we are just doing before we finally go in. For our target, we do one last refuel at this milk cow, which we called for. In the darkness, it's a bit tricky to actually find it. So let's see what we can do. We are already relatively close, roughly a mile. So let's see if we can figure out where it is. And what I always used to do a new save game for a new stream. So it's W248. Okay, what do you mean with server reset? I mean, the server that you were playing on and you lost your life. Which... It is, yeah, it is. It's so amazingly good. So, for you guys, watchers who are not that familiar with the game, there is a complete open world, like here, even the Indian Ocean and far over to the Pacific, Madagascar, South Africa. You can go just anywhere. It's a complete open world. And yeah, you even have these little marks here which give you some information about the historical progress of the war. And the coasts are beautifully modeled. Depth, I mean, the map here, mouse over. Mark this one here. This is the depth of the mouse. So wherever you go with the mouse, you get the actual depths the real depth. So when you get close to the coast, it becomes shallow. Here it's very deep. So beautifully modeled open world, and also the enemy ships there are not just kind of scripted encounters, but it's just real traffic going on the map, hidden actually, and you have to find them. And here we go. Now let's see. Hey navigator, so okay, that's I never had. I mean, it's like there is a server restart every 4 hours, usually on any third server. Is it that what you mean? Which I never felt to be much of a problem. And I think it's really only every 4 hours, maybe more. Yeah, we have very low visibility. I already have that night filter, red filter in. Let's see if we can figure out where the submarine actually is. Yeah, we can do some figures on the map. We could actually check the angle, so it should be at something like 13 degrees. So it must be there. There it is. Yeah, this is a little bit something like I think, yeah, it's kind of cheating or exploiting. So the mouse over actually marks the submarine, and yeah, just any target gets highlighted when you have the mouse over, and that's, well, it helps. Yeah, I'm playing with Dark Knights, doing almost maximum difficulty level. It pretty much helps. But on the other hand, it kind of counteracts against the Dark Knights. Yeah, however, let's see that we get close enough so that we can send a team over and get supplies. Yeah, a few more people now in the stream. Thanks for joining and welcome everybody. Hope you are having a good start of the new year of 2026.
Halbe Fahrt voraus. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
Yeah, the milk cow is cruising around here in these waters after I've called it now for 8 days. And yeah, let's do a little bit of a time acceleration here to get close. So we are moving too fast now.
Alle Maschinen stopp.
Let's stop, and then when we have stopped or moving slow enough, we can actually commission an away team. Save the game, just in case something very stupid happens, which usually doesn't. And get over. Here, supply ship. Here now you see it. Okay, it's dark, but you can kind of guess a bit what it's like. It's a friendly supply ship, often called Milk Cow by the U-boat crews. We can send our people to it to communicate with its crew and order resupply. Let's do that. So now Mr. Schultz, he's our new bosun. Let's send him. Let's send Mr. Krader, our chief engineer, and let's send Mr. Ahlers, our first engineer, and 6 crew hands. So at daylight we might now see the Zodiac approaching, because if you look at it, we should be somewhere over there. Yeah, nice view, pretty bulky submarine. Yeah, let's be polite and ask how the service is going on. Yeah, they lost a crewmate. This is always the same. Yeah, doesn't matter, but yeah, it would be nice if they would have some change there in the communication. But yeah, I don't care. There are so many things beautifully simulated in the game. So, show our cargo items. We could even get breathing apparatus. Interesting. Let's see the cargo. We are completely full here. We have, this is what I usually don't have. I usually try to have this inventory slot free in the storage room. Yeah, so that I have some margin. But as we have this surface attack order with the deck gun, I decided that the 30 round storage at the deck gun is not sufficient. So in total now we have 70 rounds, which I usually don't have. Yeah, okay, so we have more vegetable. Let's pick that up. That's comfortable. And that's all so far that we can do. Torpedoes all loaded. Yeah, let's refuel. That was the main reason. Ammo. Yep. We can't load more than that. And yeah, these slots only take 5 replacement parts, 5 medkits, and 5 sonar decoys. This is also important. Potassium absorbers already saved me. So when you are underwater for long times, at one point your air quality drops so far that people wouldn't be able to breathe anymore and die, and then you can use these potassium absorbers in the ventilation system to improve the air quality again. So I think we are all right. Let's return to the ship. And get the stuff on board. That takes a little while. And yeah, now we have daylight. Hey, weight loss. Have we been already talking to each other this year? I'm not quite sure. Maybe only briefly. Not quite sure which stream was this year and which stream was last year. So, Happy New Year. Anyway, by the way, just wanted to show you this bulky supply submarine, which we have here, and us. Where are we? There, over there. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you in. And I hope I can reconcile all of you guys with a little U-boat stream tonight, because yesterday I did something else. Well, I had good fun yesterday with Arma Reforger, but I sometimes have the feeling that it's maybe not so good fun from Watch's point of view. Or at least our community here is not so much in favor of that. Yeah, I will do some Arma Reforger stream now and then, but believe me, I'm mainly gonna stick to U-boat. So here we are. set course for our final target. There we go.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Halbe Fahrt. Cruise speed ahead.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Well, we could. Let's see. So I used to equip my crew with certain things. So the radio men, they have a breathing apparatus and a med kit, both of them. You see this breathing apparatus is used up already to 60%. So it was actually used in one critical situation. And my mechanics guys, they have a breathing apparatus and repair parts, all of them. And Mr. Schultz, our bosun, he's new on board. I actually gave my long-term bosun a long-term holiday to build up another one. So this is an unexperienced bosun, and I want to build him up as, yeah, second supplier, second source, in case that something happens to my original crew. Same for Mr. Strauss. As a second radio man, he also replaced Mr. Preen, who was long-term with me. And well, all these guys who were with me over all the last missions, they were all maxed out in terms of leveling. And so these two guys, Mr. Strauss and Mr. Schultz, they can still level up while all the other crewmates are already at max. Stop direct orders. So Mr. Hinrich will turn in. He's off watch. And Mr. Strauss at the radar detector. Yeah, we have this passive radar detector, but what I actually wanted to do was to go for Mr. Schultz and let him grab the breathing apparatus we have here, so that every officer has his own personal breathing apparatus. And next time when I'm at port or at resupply, I have to remember to get one more breathing apparatus on board. Mr. Grade is the actual officer of the watch. No. And so whenever one of the technical officers is on watch, they are working at the engines and giving them additional 2 crew hands at hand from the off-watch team. They can, well, enable flank speed, and they are using less diesel. So here we go. The resupply was successful. By the way, let me show you my inventory. At the moment I have 3 different types of food, although this one is already used up in the galley, but I could just transfer something from the stores there. This is the ventilation system, so I have placed 40 potassium absorbers in the ventilation system and 40 more in the stores. And the flak gun has 3,000 rounds. The deck gun has 30 rounds stored right at the gun. And yeah, this voyage I placed 40 more in the storage room. Now let's take a look at the discipline. Yeah, you see there that we have a certain fatigue level already of -9. This is due to the fact that we have been spending long stretches of time at sea. And And at one point, sooner or later, I will have to send the crew on shore leave for something like 3 weeks, but I try to postpone that as long as possible. So at the moment I try to serve different types of dishes, varied dishes, which almost but not quite counteracts the fatigue level. So in our overall budget of discipline is slightly decreasing. It's slightly depleting, uncritical, but it is. Would be more comfortable if we would have it the other way around. But let's see that we make sure that we keep that level of 3 different types of food. Yeah, we don't have more different types of food. That's all that we can do. Yeah, we could have the officers play cards with the crew. This would also increase the morale, or play music. Here we are. So we are going something like 13 knots. Let's get some estimation of the times that we need. So we are still here far offshore the North American continent, but yeah, already pretty far to the western part of the Atlantic, and to get down to the Caribbean would be, wow, quite some way. So say it's 1300 miles, and if we are moving with 13 knots means we are going 13 nautical miles per hour, which means for this it will take us 100 hours, which is something like 4 days, isn't it? Hey, Pitsky. Hey, that's weird. I didn't see your comment in the joint chat. Too bad. So, I hope that you're still there on YouTube. Nice to have you in, and sorry for not reacting on your hello. Let me see that. I don't know. Yeah, let's hope that it's working now. Yeah, time of the day, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but we have to keep in mind that out here we are going with Berlin, or well, European time, so we have to take into account the time shift to where we are, maybe already something like 3 or 4 hours. Hey, yeah, nice. From Canada. Yep, that's great. Nice to have you in. So what's the weather over there? Probably you are drowning in snow, aren't you? Yeah, I might have mentioned it. One uncle of my wife, he immigrated to Canada something like, I don't know, 40 years ago. So I guess he regards himself more Canadian meanwhile than German. And yeah, he sometimes tells us what it is about in winter at his place, which is pretty amazing comparison to what we have here. We had And this is really a sensation. We had something like 3 centimeters of snow tomorrow, but it's all gone already in the afternoon. Hey, Aqua Icing. Yeah, Happy New Year, same for you. Great to have you. How are you doing? Hope you smoothly slipped into the new year. Yeah, around here it's very cold for us. Yeah, yeah, it was maybe even less. And yeah, we have since something like 1.5 weeks. It's around freezing point around here, so 0 degrees Celsius, and that's very cold. That's for the region here. That's quite some extraordinary stretch of cold to have it like that for something like 2 weeks. So it does get cold in the winter, but it usually stays above the freezing. And we have very few snow. Yeah, actually they grow wine around here in the region. So it's probably one of the warmest regions in Germany. Let's do some time acceleration now. Let's see. 4 o'clock. Now, Mr. Schulz. It's Mr. Schulz's watch. So, Mr. Schulz is our disciplinary officer, the bosun. And yeah, he can't handle the engine, so he has to make himself useful in other ways. For example, by checking the map, making sure that our position accuracy doesn't drop too far down. Yeah, 9 degrees, minus 9 degrees, we never have that around here. Yeah, Aqua Icing minus 9 degrees and Pitsky on YouTube minus 6 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, of course, in southern Germany, in the Alps, there is parts where you actually have much more snow and it's much colder, but not here in the Frankfurt area.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of time acceleration, but I still take care that my offices here, like Mr. Grade is now taking over again. I have this, like, Mr. Schulz, Mr. Grade, Mr. Ahles. They are my 3 watch officers taking turns. And now Mr. Grade, and I manually give him 2 additional hands to make sure that we can exploit this saving of fuel. When he and 2 more guys are meddling around with the valves of the engines, he can go with something like 30% less fuel. So it's 6 o'clock, still night time if you consider that it is earlier around here, so local time is maybe only 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Mr. Schulz again. Let's see when we have sunrise. So it's 9 o'clock European time. Yeah, there is a shimmer of light in the east, very beautifully announcing the rising of the sun, but it's not yet up. Half an hour later, it gets brighter. I really like it, how they implement this, the changing of, yeah, changes over the day, changing the scenery over the day, changing the scenery over the months of the year. Really beautifully done. Another half an hour and there it is, so 10:30. It's November, mid-November. So if we assume that we have a 10, okay, 6:30. Not quite sure if it's 3 or 4 hours of time difference from here where we are. Not quite sure. Would be nice if they would implement some real navigation in the game. Like that you have your chronometer with Greenwich time and then kind of do that reckoning and estimate. Well, you could actually check when the sun reaches the or you have tables. You might have tables, and from the tables you take the time when the sun rises, and then from the tables you could compare it with your time on the chronometer, the Greenwich time, and then estimate where you are. At which longitude you are. And the latitudes you would still have to do with the sextant. Is it called sextant in English? This thingy where you can, in German we say you can shoot the sun with it. Ah, okay, yeah. Give it a save. And carry on. I don't know how high the risk actually is to run into air patrols around here, but I am continuously having one guy, in this case Mr. Strauss, at the passive radar detector. Okay, discipline is going down. O'clock in the afternoon. Maybe we want to have the captain playing some cards with the crew to improve the morale. Yeah, let's see. Now we have a completely different kind of weather and the whole scenery looks completely different, and that is implemented so well into the game. So there is the captain playing cards in the petty officer's mess. And here we see this gives quite some additional moral boost. So if we carry on like that, we are back to 100% in 6 hours, the game says. Hi guys, new watchers in the stream. It's a pleasure to have you in. So, welcome, Happy New Year, and don't hesitate to participate in the chat. Even if it might look like some of us are old acquaintances, don't hesitate. Always glad if it's just a hi or some comment onto the game. Do you play it? Do you like it or not? What do you think about this stream? Just any feedback. Backseat driving is particularly welcome. So, but don't feel pushed. It's just perfectly fine if you watch silently. Always happy to have people watching.
2 gewartet.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Wird erledigt, Herr Kanoi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
So let's have the captain doing one more. Playing cards. Night time, 2 o'clock at night. And okay. Mr. Lamprecht, our captain, playing cards with the crew, with the petty officers.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl, Herr Kanoi.
Okay, there we are. Back to 100%. So stop direct orders. So every manual order that you have submitted to the officers will stop by then. And yeah, in this case, Mr. Lamprecht now is switching back to his original priority, being on watch up there in the darkness. And there he's coming up, taking position. But yeah, in the darkness, visibility is very limited. You can actually see that if you zoom in. You always have that visibility circle, and at the moment, visibility is just 2 miles. Yeah, what I think is a bit weird is that the radar detector has such a very small range, not much more than visibility range. That's weird. That's weird. I'm not quite sure whether the range of the radar detector might be a bit buggy. Not wet, just cold. Hey, hey, nice to have you in. How are you doing? So, I think we already wished each other a happy new year, haven't we? If not, happy new year. No, we did last night, right? I'm mixing up the pre-New Year and the post-New Year streams a bit. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
So it's evening. Yeah, the sea is not as quiet anymore. We do have quite some swell going. Let's see, what about the wind speed? 9 knots. That's moderate winds. The galley. Yeah, everything just fine. Yeah, the point is, when you offer different types of food, you increase the morale, but on the other hand, the overall food consumption is increasing. So when you just offer one type of food, you have an overall less food consumption than you have when you offer several types of food.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Bestätige. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Herr Kaloi, wir befinden uns in flachen Gewässern.
Alright. Wow. So, okay, it's not that shallow, just 200 meters. I'm a bit surprised that I get this message just because it's a depth of... Oh, see, there is some shallows here in the middle of the sea. We just passed across some shallows where there was only a depth of 50 meters underneath the keel. Interesting. But then it gets deeper again. Amazing. How detailed that is simulated in the game. So here we are entering the Caribbean. And still 500 miles to go. So we have a bit more than half of the way done. Fuel. 90% of fuel still left, that's fine. Discipline 98%, so everything under control. And Mr. Schneider, he is continuously caring for the maintenance of the torpedoes, so that at all times the torpedoes are fairly well maintained, just in case. Let's check the bilge. Yeah, just a bit of water. That's no leak, no dramatic leak, it's just water coming in through the hatch and through gaskets continuous. You always have a bit of a little stream of water dripping into the boat, and particularly when you are at deeper depths, something like starting from 100, 150 and more, the leak rate actually increases, so you can't stay down there for an unlimited time. One reason is air quality, and the other is that you have this constant sneaky leakage. Hey, Reciprocal, yeah, perfectly fine, but nice that you tell us that you're there. Welcome, and Happy New Year.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
So now I start to be a little bit more conservative with the time acceleration. You never know what's gonna happen around here. Yeah, of course, we are still so far away from these isles that we are way beyond having eyes on them. There we have the morning sun already high up. Yeah, not so high, but a bit. And yeah, look at the waves. 14 knots of wind speed. Yeah, the maximum wind speed that you get in the game is 25. We're not yet there, but like in reality, the size of the waves is not always corresponding 100% to the wind speed. So I really love these graphics. They do this so atmospheric. Look how the boat goes through the waves. The bows cutting deep into the waves. Spray up. Wow. Whoa. That's quite some wave. Pretty amazing to have that wave with only 14 knots of wind speed. Yeah, just wanted to check the ballast tanks are empty. I am using a hell lot of food actually. If we check it, is this gonna be critical? Maybe even might become. Yeah, I really have to have an eye onto my food stores.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Now let's carry on.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Okay, so let's have the captain playing some cards again with the crew. Let's send him to the crew bunks, to the fort torpedo. Oh no, to the officers' mess this time. There he comes. Yeah, playing cards with the officers this time. Yeah, fatigue increased from -9 to -10. Yeah, also the underwater view is so beautiful. Let's give it another save.
Ich benötige etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, he can play cards for 2 watches and then his fitness bar is down. So let's stop direct orders. Yeah, okay, he is still doing his watch on the conning tower, but yeah, he is gonna have to go to his bunk soon.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Fitness bar almost
Hier
down.
etwas Unterstützung.
Night time again.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Oh yeah, navigation correctness could be better. Maybe I should let Mr. Schultz do 1 extra shift at the map. Yeah, you see the captain went to bed and now he's fit again. And Mr. Schultz is still fit enough to do another shift at the navigation table to bring this. Ah, he can only do it to 100%. This is because my previous And long-term boson had this special perk that he could bring the navigation correctness up to 150%, and he can't do it. Yeah. I have to keep in mind that since I have 2 new officers on board, there are certain things that I can't do, like I'm used to it. So I actually replaced my long-term bosun, so I gave him a long-term shore leave, so that, yeah, all the crew was completely leveled up, maxed out in skills. And so I sent my bosun and my second radio man on a long shore leave and replaced them with fresh new officers to actually level them up now and have some backup later, just in case that later in the war I might lose officers. I might be pretty glad to have additional backup guys with experience. Sunrise, 12 o'clock. It's cloudy but sunny. Partially clouded. Yeah, there they are, 3 guys on the bridge. The captain and, well, some crew hands are with him. Now we are getting closer and closer to our target. Our job is to sneak close to the shores and fire and destroy some oil tanks on the shore. So this is the first mission like that we have, to actually attack targets on the shore. And yeah, we definitely have to sneak in at night and then open fire. So it's 6 o'clock. We still have 90 miles. Let's do some estimation. If I would go flank speed, that would be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So at the break of night we would be here. Then we would still have 1 hour after sunset, so 2 hours after sunset we would be in. I think that makes sense. So, Mr. Arlos, it's your off watch, but I need you anyway at the engines now. Guys, give me flank speed, please. Let's see what is... Yeah, okay, so it's not that wavy anymore. The sea has calmed down a bit, which is good, because the higher up the swell is, the less you can actually do. You can't reach your top speed when you are kind of stopped each time you run into the back of a wave. And this you really see in the game, which is beautiful. So hard weather reduces your speed. What is not implemented is something like drift by the wind, which would be great just as well. So the wind direction actually doesn't matter in the game. Maybe it will in the future. There was some changes announced for the next update. about the waves, and I think I remember there was also something like that. You would have characteristic waves coming from certain wind directions. Not quite sure. Anybody of you in the chat, do you remember what the developers said about that, about the waves update that we're gonna get, hopefully end of that month, end of January? Let's give it another save. Let's check the food. Worst thing that could happen would be that you run out of food in the galley and don't recognize it. I'm a bit worried about the food, to be honest. Yeah, but if food really becomes sparse, if we are really running into food shortages, there is other means to keep the crew happy than just increasing the amount of food. So, yeah, beautiful, isn't it? How the boat cuts through waves.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätigt. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
2 hours. 3 hours. Yeah, the sun is still rather high up. 4 hours. So it's 10 o'clock and we are just before sunset. Yeah, so my dead reckoning was pretty okay. Isn't that beautiful? Give it a new save W 2 for what is it? 9. Yeah, my philosophy is that if I lose something like 1 or 2 crewmates, I don't reload an old game. If I miss a whole bunch of torpedoes, I don't reload an old game. But yeah, if I die, I'm not doing this the hardcore way, not Iron Man mode. So if I die, if the boat gets sunk, I reload. And yeah, also if the damages are too hard, like if I only have something like 3 crewmates surviving, I would also reload. I once had that. So they depth charged the hell out of us. But I was able to put the boat onto a shallow seabed. And finally they left us alone because the convoy moved on, but yeah. A lot of my sailors drowned. Most of the officers were dead. And that was one situation where I actually did reload one other situation where I was getting into an air raid when I was just leaving port. I lost 2 officers and something like 3 or 4 crewmen. I actually didn't reload, but just took it as it was for reality. So let's see, stop direct orders. Maybe I would find Nano. There we go.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, we are really closing in now. It's 11 o'clock and the sun is gone. Beautiful red glow at the western horizon. What is it? It's still pretty deep, 300 meters, and then it becomes shallow. Here it becomes shallow. And the question is whether I get in on that shallow angle, or maybe I should go a little bit more south and then come straight from out there. Hey, Chainsaw, nice to have you in. Good evening, how are you doing? Hope you had a good day. So for me it still was a holiday, so this is the last weekend now coming from 2 weeks of winter holiday for me, and on Monday I have to get back to work. Yeah, alright, good to hear. Okay, alright. Yeah, glad to see you back, so have a good walk with the dog. Another hour. Something is being loaded in the background. Would be interesting to know what that is. Maybe I would like to go a little bit more like that. New objective: destroy the oil tanks. So it's half an hour till midnight, and yeah, keep in mind we are actually having European time, so what is it? Do we already have eyes on the oil tanks? Mr. Schultz, please, I want to have you on the bridge once with the binoculars. Hey Colin, yeah, same for you. Happy New Year. So yeah, thanks for being in again this year, and I hope you had a good transition from 25 to 26. So as for me, I have kind of grown out of big parties and everything, so we just had a quiet dinner with our neighbors. Not doing wild parties anymore as I used to do many years ago. Okay, so we still have a bit of twilight. Okay, we already have eyes on the tanks at 35 degrees. Let's see. If this is consistent it is indeed very much consistent with the map situation. Yeah, it's the moon is up. That's not good. Tonight it's not good. Yeah, we're still going flank speed. Maybe later we are gonna have to reduce that. And let's give it a save here. We have to destroy 3 oil tanks. Yeah, that's the very first time that I do this mission, and there were no other missions of this kind before. Yeah, I might have mentioned it, but I never went further in the war than I am right now. So this is really the longest campaign that I'm doing in the game ever. And that's the pity about the update end of this month, that probably if I want to enjoy all these update things like the new type of submarine and a lot of features, additional features, if I want to actually have them, I have to upgrade the game, and then my save games will not work anymore and I will have to start a new campaign. Well, but not too much of a problem. Question is, maybe I should reduce speed at one point or even dive. Let's see, which ones are the oil tanks? These over there are the oil tanks, I think. They're at the far end of the refinery. So any guarding ships, yeah, they wouldn't expect us to be here, but let's take a sweep 360. And at the moment I don't see anything. There is the moon somewhere reflecting on the water. Yeah, the moon really makes a difference, and this is a full moon night, so it's a very bright night, which for our enterprise here is not very advantageous. So what do you think, guys? Should we dive and sneakily get in, being submerged? They could have radar or something. Yeah, I have to get much closer, yeah. But we are almost in vision range, so yeah, it's not so far. It's just 3 miles. We can easily do that submerged. Let's take a look at, yeah, let's reduce to cruise speed and see here. The mouse over gives us the depth on our path, so it's still relatively deep, and yeah, so only here it becomes shallow. So at least until here we can easily dive to periscope depth. Let's do that. Let's do, I don't know, maybe go a bit further. And yeah, let's
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
dive at that point. Yeah, the mission is actually, yeah, look, we are in the Caribbean. We again used our milk cows to do all that way down here, and our mission is to destroy oil tanks on that refinery. The mission followers. Yeah. Yeah, of course, I'm always happy to get more followers or subscribers, but as I used to say, don't feel pushed.
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Just do as you like.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Okay, now problem is that the attack periscope doesn't have any night filters. So I would like to have Mr. Schulz go for the observation periscope, which on the other hand cannot be poked out of the water so far as the attack periscope. Yeah, they actually, I think there will be, in the update that we get end of the month, there will be, here you see, here it actually stops. We don't have coordinates in the Pacific at the moment, but this, they are gonna change, and there will be Pacific missions in the future. And of course, yep. Yeah, there were a few actually. There were a few being sent the long way, but I don't know, I think none of them returned alive, or just a few. Now here we are, yeah, see, I can put it up a little bit further, but not as far as I could do with the attack periscope. So now we are on the safe side. So without, okay, we have so much light from the moon. Let's try if we could even do that with the attack periscope. Yeah, I think that the observation periscope has a larger aperture. The larger the aperture, the more light you can collect, and the better you can see in the darkness. So let's see if the aperture of the attack periscope allows us to see something in this beautiful moonlight. There he goes. Yeah, they had to, right? They had to. And yeah, this is one thing what I really very much like that movie for. That's German submarine movie from the early 80s, Das Boot, where they really show, I think you really get a little bit of an impression how hard it was. And then you have these kind of, do you remember that scene when Johann, this engine guy who had already something like 10 or 12 or more missions, and he suddenly panics. Okay, see. Okay, but I think it's less bright, is it? I think it's a little bit darker. Yes, yep, not wet, just cold, exactly. Even just to climb into this steel tube. Yep. So I guess that these are the oil tanks that we are supposed to fire at. These, probably these brown, these balls, they are gas tanks. So let's check the mission orders. Shall we destroy fuel tanks or shall we destroy gas tanks? Destroy oil tanks, yeah. Okay, not the gas tanks. Let's hope that the game is precise about that. There we are getting in. Sneakily. So now this is our maximum sight, but they wouldn't spot our periscope on that range. Definitely not. So maybe the wrong time for the captain to turn in. Yeah, I will give him a cup of coffee later and he can get up. Hi guys! See the number of watchers going up. It's a pleasure to have all of you in. As I used to say, you're welcome to participate in the chat or give me a follow or a subscription, but yeah, don't feel pushed. It's just perfectly fine if you watch anonymously. Shall we do a bit of time acceleration? Yeah, now we are submerged. It's only 7 knots that we do, yeah, which is still relatively fast. I think I heard some experts saying that the submarine was even slower when it was submerged. Yeah, we're still pretty far. Usually you need to be closer to fire effectively on a ship. So I think we should be at least 1 mile close.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet. Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Alarm! Auf Gefechtsstation!
Denkt alle an eure Ausbildung. Bleibt ruhig und konzentriert.
So why?
Alarm beenden.
Yeah, come on guys, step away from battle station. Yeah, Captain. Maybe you would like to have a cup of coffee or two.
Bestätige.
So there is recovered Yeah, see, I think... Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, watching through the attack periscope lets everything be much brighter, and that's actually what I said. So they even have this implemented into the game, that we have yeah, much larger aperture, probably with this observation periscope. And here, look at that. It's much darker. Beautiful. I love that. They really know what they are doing, these developers, and they really know what it is about. Oh shit. This is guns. This is guns. They're gonna fire on us, probably. And probably there will be more. Just two guns over there. Maybe. So we could fire at these, or we could fire at one more. Yeah, there are more. So maybe it would be more comfortable to fire at these guys. Distance 1.5 miles. No, yeah, that's the question. How close do we have to get to effectively hit these targets? Let's see that we get a little bit closer. Change course for 30 degrees.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
So let's head for these oil tanks. The moon is up, it's pretty bright. The question is when they would detect us and what their reaction would be. Do they have guns, batteries on shore, opening fire on us, or will there be aircraft coming in? There is no any airport in the vicinity in the range, but yeah, you never know. Yeah, they are air guns, but I think even the air guns, if they could make them bear on us, they could give us some trouble. Don't know. Don't think that I ever got shot by them, but of course I used to try to keep away from them. Let's reduce speed. And give it one more save. Here we are. What's the depth around here? Should be pretty shallow by now. Ah, we still have 150 meters. Only here it becomes more shallow, so we can get in a bit further. It's still a bit more than a mile. So, sure, let's mark it like if we would.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
1 mile. 1 mile, something like that. I think I should go in for 1 mile.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Let's speed up a bit again. And so here we are going straight for these tanks. But I cannot quite judge how far inland they are. They are not just right standing at the shore. There is a little car going, you see. Just too much daylight. Yeah, let's do a little bit. Yeah, see how dark it is, so the observation periscope is really a light catcher. Wow. You have that industrial noise. That's amazing. But obviously, no ships being alongside at the moment. No ships being moored. So at the moment I'm approaching on these. So guys, prepare for action. What's the bilge? Okay, I should have turned on the pump before, but I won't turn it on now. Let's avoid any unnecessary noise. Discipline is alright, air quality is not the problem at the moment, although when you're being chased, then air quality is really the thing that is your first problem often. I mean, apart from the depth charts. So at that point, allow me to be AFK just for 1 minute, and then we are going to continue. Alright guys, thanks for your patience. Let's dive back into the game. And position, yeah, now we are
Alle Maschinen, stopp!
in 1 mile range to the shore. Yeah, probably these oil tanks are a little bit off the shore. I mean, to the hinterland. And so shall we now sneakily get to the surface and then sneakily man the deck gun and then wreak havoc upon that shore? I hope that they are not wreaking havoc upon us. Let's do it. Question is, who's gonna man the deck gun? In the past I let the bosun do it because he was particularly skilled with the deck gun. Here the captain is a good gunner. But on the other hand, I would like to grant some extra experience to Mr. Schultz. And he doesn't have any particular skills yet. But he's a Spanish speaker. That's actually the reason why I did choose him. That might be good for boarding ships. Now, let's get to the surface.
Anblasen.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
So that's pretty sneaky. Now here you see Mr. Grada opening the valves. Now compressed air is gonna push the water out of the ballast tanks, and we are going up. Yeah. The moon is shining upon us, but yeah, it's so dark. They should not actually be able to spot us from here, but it's pretty far away still. Not quite sure whether we will score a hit from that distance, but at least it's not a moving target. So this is the gun that we are going to use now. Mr. Schultz, man the deck gun.
Herr Kapitän?
And hold fire for now. So he should turn up there any minute. There he comes. And yeah, hold fire for now. Let's take a look by ourselves. Yeah, let him do it. I would like to first take a look how he actually managed to do it. So, what happens? If I say open fire, will he actually start firing? There are no ships, so he is probably not quite knowing what to do. Yeah, so I have to do it manually.
Feuer einstellen.
I am still undetected. So let's see. So, yeah, we have a pretty quiet sea, that's good. So this is one of the rare situations where the submarine is a stable gun platform, relatively stable.
Herr Kaloy, wir wurden entdeckt.
Zeit, unseren Mut zu testen, Männer.
Too far, is it? Okay, this one seems to be blown up, I would say. Was water. That should have been a smooth hit. They are ringing their alarms.
Kurs setzen. Äußerste Kraft voraus.
No escape from the area. I think at the moment I would actually stay on the surface. Okay, there might be enemy ships inbound. Let's carefully check the horizon. Was there something? There is smoke. Is this a ship? Or is it a chimney, or is it a burning? Something. It's pretty far out. If you ask me, that pretty much looks like some ship coming up. This one is. Look at that. That's smoke. Smoke columns. At one point I'm gonna have to dive because destroyers are so much faster than me. I could escape them. Question is when they would actually be in range to spot me. So, what is it? 185 degrees. Let's keep that in mind. So there is something coming up from there.
Kurs setzen.
50 meters here. Yeah, I should get out a bit.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten
It's pretty
setzen.
shallow still, but then it gets deeper quickly. Flank speed, guys. Give it another save. Hey, now that we are going flank speed, we could just as well turn on the pump.
Lenzpumpe einschalten.
Just to prepare for anything. Hey, yippee up! Nice to have you in. How are you doing? How was your day? So, I don't know if you remember what the situation was in the last stream. We just started an attack on Aruba in the West Indies. Oh, there is somebody coming after us. No, that's... Hey? Okay. Confused me a bit. But, yeah, we are in the Caribbean and our job was to destroy... On the shore there was an oil refinery and our job was to destroy 3 oil tanks, and this we did actually right now. They were sounding alarm and now I'm getting away flank speed on the surface, but I'm not quite sure. I think I might have enemy man of war coming up somewhere. So via the binoculars actually showed something. Yeah, we have been destroying. Let's see. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 of the oil tanks. And I had the impression that there was something coming up. Let's check that again. Yeah, we are still on the surface. There is definitely something. There is definitely something coming up. And let's just make sure that we are not getting our way cut off in the darkness. It's pretty hard to spot anything, but let's try to make sure that there is no smoke columns on the rising cut off our path of flight. Oh, there is someone coming in on 310 and it's pretty close.
Peilung 315 Grad. Auf Seerohrtiefe.
315, which is 45. Say minus 45. Coming in from there.
Kurs setzen.
So this is the realistic thing about the game now. The ballast tanks are being flooded, and all this takes a while. All the crew, Overwatch crew, has been run into the front compartment, and here we are.
Schraubengeräusche. Kleine Gruppe. Peilung 150 Grad.
Okay, so there are guys coming from there as well. 150. Is this possible? Somewhere there.
Ja?
But there was also something coming in from there, and that seemed to be pretty close. Now, what angle would we have right now? After changing course, 95 something.
Herr Kaloy?
Yeah, that's them probably. Ah, okay. Have to run it out. Yes, there they are. Not quite easy to tell, but I could actually try to get them with the stern torpedoes. I do have one Type 5 sound-seeking torpedo in the stern torpedo tube and another in the spare stores. So I could give that a try if it were not just so terribly dark. Yeah, I was actually, I was working a bit in the morning, preparing things for work next week, and relaxing and actually playing some Bannerlord. And spending the afternoon with my wife, evening as well. I've been playing some board game, and that's it so far. So how was your day? Hey Colin, you're right. So thanks very much. It's always good if you have full professionals in. I'm not yet doing the sneaky thing. So the stern torpedo, you're 100% right, needs some maintenance. Very important point. Let's give him an additional hand so that this works faster. Maybe they are closer, I don't know. Actually, not getting that hydrophone contact anymore. So hard to see them in the dark. Guys, where are you? Can't be that they have passed by and missed me. Somebody's coming up from there. I can't see them anymore. Can't see them anymore. But there they are. Somewhere there they are. Maybe I should switch.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Luftziel Seerohr besetzen.
Mr. Schultz. Oh, let's just make sure that we don't get any surprises from offshore. From the offing. Spotting something around here. Yeah, but it's just so much shorter. The observation periscope is so much shorter than the tech periscope. I can't poke it out of the water as far as I would like to. There is the smoke. And I think there was a second one, wasn't it? Smoke. Let's just hope that there is nobody cutting off our way unnoticed. So maybe I should send one of my technical officers for improved depth keeping. There it is. Let's see, maybe we get away. Looks like it's pretty far, but that's 2, isn't it? Oh no, that was just water droplets on the lens. Maybe we're lucky and they have no idea where we are. It's at 250, so it's minus 110 degrees. Let's mark that on the map. So they are coming from there. And they must be somewhere there. So if I have eyes on them, they can't be much much further away. 2 to 3 miles, something like that, which is pretty close.
Äußerste Kraft voraus.
Yeah, we could try something and use the snorkel.
Herr Kapitän?
Okay. Depth 250 to 300 meters by now. While I could try one trick.
Kleine Fahrt voraus. Halbe Fahrt voraus. AK voraus. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, let's stay with flank speed. Of course, we are burning a hell lot of battery capacity with that. But maybe we can get out of their searching pattern. So I was actually thinking to put myself just onto the seabed silently. But it is already pretty deep around here, and so if they would be cruising that area for hours and searching, I might get into trouble. And so now I'm more like trying to get away out of their search pattern before they are actually close in. Hey Beatbox, nice to have you in. How are you doing? Thanks very much for the raid. What have you been playing? Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Yeah, Happy New Year for you just as well. And the guys who are coming in with you. So nice to have you. Let's see what the new year is gonna bring. Yeah, did you have a good and swift, smooth shift into the new year, I hope? Yeah, okay, Colin on YouTube just states that he had been doing this playthrough before and his experience was that these were corvettes, yeah. Okay, alright, to be honest, I've heard of Monster Hunter, but don't know it, and I haven't heard of Inzoi. That's somehow feels like I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, nevertheless, thank you very much for the raid. Hey, Chainsaw. Okay, yeah, you went out with the dog, I think you said. Welcome back. Yeah, it did go well. We sneakily got into a range of 1 mile to the shore and then fired and could easily destroy three oil tanks to finish the mission. And yeah, now we have to get away. There is a bunch of ships coming in from here and a bunch of ships coming in from here. And at the moment I'm trying to go submerged, but submerged flank speed, which of course burns a hell of battery. And yeah, let's see if I can get away out of their search area unnoticed, or if they are actually picking up my trail. Okay, yes. Okay, in Zoe, it's alright. So something like a Sims thing. Like, yeah. That reminds me of what one of the watchers in the chat once said, that U-boat is actually The Sims on a submarine, with having all these characters modeled in detail. Yeah, just 13 liters in the build, uncritical. What about the food? Everything fine. Yeah, but what we could do, we could transfer some of the ammo of the stores to the deck gun. We have fired. Yes. So who is going to do that transfer now? Some crewmates, hopefully. I can't, of course I can't, because we are submerged, so the ammo storage at the gun is of course not accessible. Batteries at 90%. Okay, I really have to have an eye on the battery charge level. Yeah, nice. Very nice. Just lurk, that's fine. Yeah, for me it's also 2 o'clock. I'm streaming from the Frankfurt area, Germany. I mean the western Frankfurt, not the eastern Frankfurt. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you're from the Netherlands. Nice. Pleasure to have you. Now, this is all a bit about the sneaky stuff. Let's see, what does the hydrophone... Okay, we don't get any signal from these, but we could do it manually. Let's see if we get any signal report from that direction. Okay, nothing. Let's go for the long range scan. Is there something, or is it just distortion? Noise? Yeah, there is just too much noise because we are going with flag speed actually. Probably I would have to reduce speed for a little while. Okay. Sounds like the noise is getting down a bit. No idea. Nothing to be heard. What if I stop? Yeah, come on, still. That incredible noise, it doesn't make any difference. Just doesn't make any difference. Anything visual? If you ask me, it looks a bit like we are about to get rid of them. Yeah, we could go take a wash to get better eyes. I don't see the smoke column anymore. It must be somewhere over there. But there it is, isn't it? Or was it just a droplet on the lens? No, there we have them. At minus 135. Let's put that onto the map. So something like that. But at the moment, I don't have the feeling that they are closing in. Looks all right. Hey guys, that's just great. Just I see, yeah, again I see the number of views going up a bit, one by one. It's a pleasure to have all of you guys in. So, Happy New Year to just any newcomer. So, yeah, that will be and yeah, you're completely anonymous, but I'm always so glad if I get some feedback. Like, for example, from Beatbox, pretty amazing to hear that he's from the Netherlands, which is not very far away from where I live. Frankfurt area of Germany is Western Germany. And yeah, actually, the area where I grew up in Germany, it's even closer. It's the Lower Rhine region, which is pretty close to the Dutch border actually. So I think the mentality of the people on the German side in the lower Rhine region. They are pretty close to what the Dutch people are like. Yeah, but yeah, don't worry, it's perfectly fine if you just lurk. Don't feel pushed. Yes, yeah, I heard that in the news that fireworks are gonna get banned completely, yep.
Feindliche Kriegsschiffe in Sicht. Peilung 220 Grad.
That's them, yep. So you could celebrate in Germany, maybe, yep. There is always the discussion after New Year. There are people saying and demanding that it should be prohibited, but I think it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's perfectly fine if you have some no fireworks area in the party miles in the town centers. And that's it. But, well, on the other hand, I personally don't need the firework anyway. I never did. Actually, I'm not quite in the party age anymore, but still, even back then, I was always just happy to have some drinks or even have a lot of drinks with my friends, having a wild party, and well, I always felt a bit interrupted in the party when you had to stop partying and have to get out into the cold for the firework. Yeah. It's always something like, yeah, it's never good to have too much stuff being prohibited. But yeah, people think about these injuries and, well, but that's what I think. You have these crowded downtown areas, and there you should just prohibit it. And out of these downtown party areas, in my opinion, it's perfectly okay. I mean, of course, you could also discuss it in the environmental point of view, but yeah, of course, there is a lot of things that could be done to improve that. Yeah, I'm a bit, say, undecisive about it, I have to admit. But in principle, I'm never a friend of having too much being regulated and prohibited by the government. Yeah, and in Germany it's still free, and actually it is like that in the party miles, like in Berlin or Frankfurt, in the center of the cities. It's not allowed, and yeah, of course, there are always some people who actually ignore that, but, well. Yeah, I still have the feeling that we are getting away. That we are actually getting away. Doesn't quite look like that this cloud there is getting closer. But of course it's hard to tell in the darkness. What's the time, by the way? 1 o'clock. So, well, it's 1 o'clock European time. So around here it's probably only something like, well, maybe 9 o'clock in the evening. So it's still gonna get darker, and sooner or later the moon is gonna drop. Hopefully sooner than later. Let's take a look at the position of the moon. It's still high up, so it will still take quite some while until the moon will be down. Yeah, you can't see anything. You even can't see the lights anymore of Aruba. I'm really thinking about getting back to the surface and going away flank. So $45, 145 minus 145. And no contact. Only these guys, but none of these. Maybe they're just listening. And maybe I should just get to the surface and go flank and see that I get away. Give it a save. We are pretty good at the moment. Oh yeah, Colin, if we could do it with a snorkel. Shall we try that? I never used the snorkel. I somehow never got used to actually using it. Yeah, let's see. Let's put up the snorkel. That's it. Snorkel control lever. So one of the crewmates, yeah, in this case, Mr. Schneider. Yeah, chainsaw, right. Perfect situation for that, yeah. Do we have it up? It's so dark. Yeah, I think there we have... Ah, there it is coming up. And switching to diesel. Yeah, of course we are creating a bit of smoke, but I don't think that this smoke is being visible in the dark. Now I was curious, how fast can we actually go? I think it would be unrealistic if we could go the full 17 knots that you can go on the surface. And yeah, okay, look. It's only 13 knots, obviously, which is kind of realistic. Air quality is improving. Discipline is going down. And we don't need Mr. Grada at depth keeping. I wonder if I would go faster if I would run in the 2 periscopes, reducing the drag of the water. Yep. Yeah, good point. What do you think, guys? Would we go faster if we would run in the 2 periscopes, reducing the drag? Probably not, right? I think the simulation doesn't go that far. Yeah, we could even reduce speed a bit and then reload our batteries. As long as we are going flank speed, we have no power resources left to actually load the batteries. Yeah, beatbox. So, yeah, it was maybe my own fault because I started to, yeah, elaborate on that topic of the fireworks. But yeah, I usually try to keep politics out of the discussion of the stream. Like politics, there is this whole saying also for the job, right? No religion, no politics. Yeah, but let me just give that last comment from outside view, where you don't have all the details that you have from inside. To me, this Mr. Rutte, yeah, he sounds to be a okayish guy for the NATO. And generally, the Germans usually respect the Dutch people a lot. So at the moment, everything seems to be going on smoothly. Let's take another look. What about the smoke column? It's probably getting darker a bit. Okay, we lost eyes on the smoke at the moment. Would be the worst thing. And yeah, we have our own smoke now, maybe interfering a bit. Do we have something there? Do we have something there? There is something, is it? There is something that seems pretty close already. But it seems to be moving from the right to the left. We see this vein of the smoke. So, but pretty close, isn't it? I really can't tell. I really can't tell if that's the hull. Ah, yeah. Let's do it like that. If we get anything better. No, we just see the smoke. At 200 minus, which is then minus 100 and $160 minus 160. Carrying on at 1 point.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
160, so they are actually passing by behind us. That's good. So I think this is a good point in time to change course. I don't know. Colin, yeah, well. Who is this Billy Connolly? Is he the guy after whom the train station is named? Isn't this Western train station in Dublin, isn't it called Connolly Station? Or do I have that wrong in the back of my mind? Yeah, Colin, I always go for voting, and I try to then vote for the least, yeah, how would you call it, the least evil option. Okay, so it's probably not that train station guy. Yeah. So he's got nothing to do with Ireland. Yep. I think you mentioned that guy before, did you? Oh, what I always wondered, maybe you can tell me, Robbie Coltrane, is he Scottish actually? I once thought he was, but I was not sure. I remember a wonderful TV series that I saw back then, back in the days on BBC, I think it was. Now again, what would be the direction now? Minus 100. Well, let's see. So minus 100 would be 260. There we have the smoke column. Oh no. That pretty much looks like they have changed course. That's not good. But realistic somehow. Pretty much looks like they have changed course. But they are pretty much where I thought that they were. Hey, Captain Mongol. Nice to have you in. Happy New Year, by the way. Glad to see you in the chat. Hey, removed koala, nice to have you in. Happy New Year, and yeah. Or did we already meet last night? I'm not quite sure anymore. So I already said that I'm mixing up the streams, and never quite sure right now which were the pre-New Year and which were the post-New Year streams. Yeah, glad to have you in. I'm fine. Now, this is the last weekend now of my 2 weeks of holiday. On Monday, back to work. Look at that. Again, it looks like they are changing course. So let's be aware. They have just turned around. Yeah, they are. Looks like they are searching. They are doing a search pattern there, which is good. That they're doing it there and not here. So it looks a bit like we are getting away with that. Escape from the area is still our mission. Yeah, we are about to do that. By the way, let me be AFK just for 1 minute. But for safety, let's just pause the game. You never know what's happening in these situations. Alright guys, so it's getting late, pretty late, so I decided to have a little glass of wine. So we can still carry on for a little while, but I will not stretch that endlessly. Ooh. Okay, so I actually wanted to have some white wine, but in the darkness out there I got me a bottle of red one. Well, so cheers guys. Checking. Yeah, I think we are well getting away. Yeah, we were able to quickly get away. So in the beginning it was a good idea to first sail away flank speed on the surface, so that we were away from the scenery before they arrived to do their search pattern. Of course that was a bit risky, because it could have been that they would have spotted us on the surface with their radar. Yeah, we are submerged, we are on periscope depth, but I applied the snorkel so that we are going now flank speed with the diesel. But you see, down submerged we can't do the 16 or 17 knots that you used to do on the surface with flank speed diesel, but only 13 to 14 knots. Yeah, 1:30 in game, so change of shift in half an hour. Let's give it a save, and then I would venture to do a little bit of time acceleration. See, they have changed course again. And again, yeah, they are doing a search pattern there. And pretty much looks like they have no idea where we are.
Rohr 5 gewartet.
35, 135. Something like that. So they are cruising there estimated distance would be, I guess that they're 5 miles away and it could be safe to get to the surface. Could be safe to just get to the surface. Let's do that. Let's save the game once more. And let's first do the deck awash thing, which means that we just partly flood the battle's tanks so that the boat is kind of, yeah, at the surface. Sorry. Deck awash. What happens if we remove the snorkel?
Schnorchel einfahren.
Okay, as long as we're deck awash, we still can't go flank speed. But we are going with diesel. Must be somewhere there. But I don't see it with the binoculars. So guys, let's blow the tanks finally completely. Blow our ballast tanks, yep. Quite a bit of water in the bilge, so somebody please turn on the pump. Mr. Schultz, did he get... He didn't get any XP for being at the cannon when I fired these. Well, let's see. I hope he will get some XP later then in the mission debriefing.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Okay, everything is safe. Everything seems to be under control. So let's do some time acceleration.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
weather, that's good. Helping us to stay undetected. And let's get for the milk cow. Let's go for the milk cow. Escape from the area. I think we did escape from the area. I hope that this is not buggy. It feels a bit buggy actually. That we still have that order escape from the area. We did. Warship spotted. Ah, no, okay. But we could send that report back home. Now we are far enough away. I never like to send messages back to the headquarters when enemy ships are around, because I always think they could triangulate our position. Warship out of range. Yeah, come on.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Treibe Fahrt voraus.
Yeah, we can go to cruise speed again. Let's hope that we just didn't. Yeah, let's see what we can do. That we just aren't able to end the mission. Escape from the area. Hey. That looks buggy. That looks very buggy.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nah, I'm very glad that this is not a bug. Return to port. Mission completed. Attack on Aruba. Save the game.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Ich benötige etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kanoy. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloy. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, there is a bit of a wave going. Let's see what the galley says. So I wonder if some crewmates are actually doing the transfer now. Or if I would have to address that job explicitly to an officer. Yeah, removed koala. It worked all right. In the beginning, I had a lot of messages that I had frame drops, but well, today I was looking at my own stream, and it seemed to be alright. And my processor GPU temperature was under control. So I think with these settings I'm gonna try again for Armor Reforger. So I think from your watcher's point of view it was also alright, right? And yeah, content wise I quite liked it. So I had that team up with that guy. I think he said he was from the Ukraine. And yeah, we had quite some nice adventures. First with the heli and then taking a few bases together. Yep, that was good fun. Yeah, there was not too much people on the server, but just for the beginning, like not being too deep in the game yet. That was nice. Yeah, let me call it training. Okay, one of the crewmates is now doing the carrying the stuff to the deck gun. Okay, so he's busy a bit. Yeah, I really love Armor Reforger for this kind of, yeah, how you can communicate. And these things like you have to capture bases and they are connected. Yeah, I like it. I like that better. So whenever I had been playing Armor Reforger, all these groups, all these combat groups were behaving usually much more kind of structured than in like Hell Let Loose, for example, where you actually, or for me at least, when I was playing Hell Let Loose, I had the feeling that there were just kind of 100 people constantly respawning, running to the front, get shot, respawning, running to the front. And in Armor Reforger, you have these little groups of maximum 5 or 6 people with group leader, and having the radio contact. So yeah, I would really like to advertise for Armor Reforger. It's pretty nice. Maybe from your point of view of watching streams, maybe when you used to watch my UBOAT streams, maybe it's not quite what you expect, but in principle the game is very good fun.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Okay, there it is, deck gun, 30 rounds. That's all that we can store directly at the deck gun. Okay. Sunset. And on we go.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Give it a little save, just in case.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Oh, ich kümmere mich darum.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet. Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Wird erledigt, Herr Kanol.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Bestätigung.
Supply ship has reached target square. Okay, so I'm not quite sure. What did I do there? If I go to that, so I have, okay, there is another milk cow there at CD7, DD6 and DO6. Okay, there is a milk cow at DO6 just as well. Let's mark that on the map. Wasn't aware that I had been sending a milk cow to there. Okay, it just took, and that's also, yeah, beautifully realistic. I mean, that it takes that time. They are not just spawning there when you order them to go there, but it takes them longer to get there than me to get there and on the way back. Good thing. There we are closing in onto our other milk cow area. Nighttime fog, that's just alright. Nighttime and fog, and there would be no airplanes. But out here, there wouldn't be any airplanes anyway. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Entering the area, give it a save, and let's radio for the milk cow. They must be somewhere around. Yeah, warship spotted. Let's report that. Doesn't make much sense that it works now, but let's do it. To get rid of that message. Yeah, and the radioing progresses faster when you have an additional assistant, additional crew hand assisting him at the radio. Mr. Hinrich this time. Okay, so no, Mr. Strauss got 5 XP for sending that message, and now, Mr. Strauss, I want you to request the resupply. And probably he's getting XP for that just as well.
Funkspruch erhalten.
Confirm.
Herr Kaloin?
How much XP does he have? 90 by now. Nice. Can turn in.
Herr Kaloin?
Zeit für eine Auszeit.
some way to go.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Äußerste
Let's
Kraft
go
voraus.
flank, so that we might be there. Wow, look at these waves going on. Wow, wow. Look at that. That would be a nice thumbnail. Having a screenshot from that moment when the bow rises high out of the waves and starts to drop back down. Yeah, that's so beautiful. The graphics, I love the graphics of the game. Yeah, let's continue. Going for the milk cow.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Still 5 miles. Let's see that.
Spitze, kleine Gruppe, Peilung, 350 Grad. U-Boot, 350 Grad. Kurs setzen.
Okay, no eyes yet.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, they are. Right.
Kurs setzen. Alle Maschinen stopp.
And now let's do a little bit of inventory management. All right. Give it a save. And restore over there. Send the delegation. Mr. Schultz, the bosun, Mr. Grade, chief engineer, Mr. Schneider, second mechanic, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hands. And there they go. See their cargo. Here we are. So we are getting a lot of bread. Let's get it. A lot of vegetable. And let's get the bacon. Then items, coffee. One additional breathing apparatus. Refuel, important. What about ammo? That's fine. Food is fine and equipment is fine just as well. So let's go like that. And return to the ship. And yeah, the U-boat will be off duty for 3 days for reloading. Let's just hope that we don't experience any surprises during that period. Alright, here we are. Got the stuff on board. Yep. What about discipline? Discipline is pretty far down, so I should have the captain play some cards. Yeah, fatigue is up to -13.
Kurs setzen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Okay, pretty weird that we don't have the submarine on the map anymore, but yeah, no problem. By the way, let's take a closer look at the resupply sub. So this is one very bulky thingy. Yeah, isn't she? That's quite a big baby. And the crew, and there in the background, us being on our way. So thank you guys for giving us the resupply. I really love it that all these details are modeled in the game. Yeah. Not so far out here in the Western Atlantic, but back in the days when we were roaming the Eastern Atlantic, we constantly were running into other German submarines, and they were even participating in the battles, firing their own torpedoes or distracting the enemy from us, dragging, depth charging on them. So that's what I would call immersion. Give it a save. And let's go.
könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Captain, please give me some cards playing.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
So, Captain, please some cards playing again. Oh God, what do we have here? One of the crew hands.
Ja.
Mr. Seifert. So, what is it about?
Herr Kapitän?
Communist narratives. Word on the boat indicates that Dieter Seifert has been caught spreading communist propaganda among the men. He speaks of workers' rights and the failures of the Reich. How will you deal with that dissent? Ah, that's tricky. So this needs to be handled as a court-martial. After returning to port, Dieter Seifert will be brought before a court-martial. Crew's experience will increase by 300 points. Suggest him to keep it more private. Yeah, let's do it like that.
Bestätige.
No direct effect, but maybe some effect later. I would be surprised if there would be some continuation of that storyline. Well, let's call it. Give it a save.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätige.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Hey, why can't the captain do some playing cards? Okay, interesting.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Bestätige.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Ich könnte etwas etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloin.
So fuel status. Yeah, come on, we don't really. So that's 10%, 20, 30. Yeah, this would bring us well back home. So I think we don't have to refuel here. No, come on. But if I look at the time, yes, it's past 3 o'clock around here, so would be pretty reasonable to go to bed. So thank you guys for watching. It was a pleasure to have all of you in. Yeah, whoever is still there, call in on YouTube. If you're still there, perfectly fine. Have a good one. And I think I'm gonna stream tomorrow just as well. Hey Colin, yes, in principle you're right from a strategic point of view, but from a moral point of view, I think content-wise he was alright. Just because he was talking about labels' rights, he mustn't be a commie. And if he was talking about, he was doubting about the Endsieg, well, luckily, history taught us that he was right. So if it were about role play, I would like to slip into the role of some U-boat commander who is not sure about the goals of Germany and the party, and who is not sure about the Endsieg. And that was why I was behaving like that. So that was not from ratio. From that point of view, you're right, but that was more kind of role play thing to do it like that. Chainsaw, if you're still there, have a good night. Remove vodka, have a good night. So would be great to see you again, maybe tomorrow. Captain Mongol, if you're still there. Beatbox, I think you already said that you would go to bed. And yeah, a lot more people have been in the stream. Yip yap. If you're still there, have a good night. And weight loss. Maybe you fell asleep watching. I don't know if you're still there. Good night. So if I did forget anybody, please don't take it personal. Beatbox, thanks for the raid, and yeah, have a good one, everybody. By the way, of course, I could do some. Do I want to raid somebody? Nope. Nah. So, see you guys.